Spyder RS with a Soul exhaust upgrade, mid-pipe. And we're in the middle of literal nowhere here. Jeff, please share the folks. We're literally the country road here. I do not do this very often because this is a very capable car. The only way you're really going to get this car is on the track, guys. But we'll go ahead and do a launch control for you one time just so you can experience how loud this car is. It's probably going to clip the microphone, honestly. It's that loud. But we'll try, okay? So in order to do launch control, ESC in the middle here, go ahead and put your foot on the accelerator, on the brake, and once it has launch control, you just let off the brake. It's kind of crazy. You ready for this?
Approaching a level crossing.
Bro, my heart. Oh my God. I don't know what's gonna sell you the car more, guys. Just my reaction or you, that sound, but dude, that's absolutely nuts. Wow. Literal hats off to you, Porsche. Man, this thing is, that was nuts, man. Wow. Welcome back, guys, to Driven Productions. My name is Adam, and today we have the 1,000 mile Spyder RS recap. Now, this is my car in vanadium gray, and this is my good friend Jeff's car in black. And I love the spec. We left the bikini top on his so you can see the difference between it being off and it being on. Now we're both gonna go through and share our first kind of 1,000 mile experience. I just passed 1,000 miles yesterday. I have like 1,035. He has about 1,500, knocking on the door is 1,600. So he's definitely had the car a little bit longer. Now we're gonna go through everything about the two cars and give you our opinions, the good and the bad, because we have had some issues with the cars. Just kind of go through and give you some consciousness about the spec, maybe what we might have done differently. So stick around. This is gonna be a great one if you're looking to order or spec an RS. They are still allocating these cars, but I do think we are on like final allocations from what I've heard. So maybe they'll get up to 2,000 of these, 1,500 of them, 3,000 at most, I'd say, in the entire world are gonna be made. I could be wrong about that. They might continue on into 2026 with the Trump rules and the EU and all that kind of relaxing on their emissions regs, but my gut tells me that this is going to be probably the final year they're going to make with the Cup engine. So stick around because we're going to get into it right now. And welcome back to the HQ.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks for having me.
I love having you, man. So for you guys, just so you know, we did there was a 992.1 GTS review in GT Silver late last year. So I'll put a link of it right over here if you guys want to check that out. So Jeff, tell me, this car I know was not on your radar until it was literally in your garage. So what's the short story with it?
Essentially back in January, I was fortunate enough to get an allocation for a 3RS. Plan was to trade the GTS in on that when it arrives, hopefully sometime in July or August. Was at the dealership one day. This car had been spec'd by another individual that had to back out at the last minute. So the car actually was in dealer inventory as new. I jokingly chatted with my sales professional there at Porsche of Nashville and said, hey, let's figure out a way to get me in this for the summer as a temporary sort of bridge between my GTS and the 3RS,
right.
And not thinking anything would come out of it. I mean, honestly, it was kind of just joking on the side. And about a week later, he called me up with some details, and within 24 hours, I was bringing the GTS in to trade it in on this.
Wow.
Like I said, so I didn't really have any anticipation of it. Obviously, the process you went through with ordering and speccing and waiting and tracking, this was within about a week from dream, to reality, and now I've got a dilemma because I really like it.
So remind the viewers, you have a 3RS on the way.
Correct.
Right. So
correct.
you're debating between keeping the 992.2.
Dot one, yeah.
.1 3RS, because the .2 is not to be announced quite yet.
There are no details on that.
Oh, I've heard rumors of the 2RS, mind you.
Yes.
Or keeping this. So what are you leaning towards? I mean,
You forgot option C, which is both.
Keep them both. Oh, yes. Yes.
There's some debate on that. I mean, honestly, like I said, this thing surprised me because I'd never had a convertible. I'd never had a mid-engine Boxster Cayman platform vehicle.
Right.
And throwing that GT3 motor in this thing, I expected it to be good. I didn't expect it to be as good as it is, especially on the street. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing is top down, windows down, beautiful day, back roads. It's the closest thing you can get to a motorcycle with four wheels. And the intake noise, you watch the reviews, you hear about it until you experience it yourself. Yes. You can't, it's impossible to really put onto tape or into words.
I will tell you, as soon as you hit the valves and as soon as you hit PDK Sport, yeah, that just goes right away. And then it just gets loud, really loud. Like, I don't even know if you guys will hear me talking. I mean, these cars are so visceral. Tell me that's not the best sounding car you ever heard. I mean, Jesus. The pitch. This car's a lot louder at full song than mine is. It really is, a lot louder. I will say, guys, with the top down, you can do some serious speeds and it really doesn't baffle or buffet or wind. I mean, you definitely have to have the windows up. Yes. Like that's a fact. Like if you keep the windows down even at like 40, your hair's blowing. But windows up, they've really done a great job of designing it aerodynamically with the wind. I
agree. And I've had it was a mild track day in the vehicle. Obviously the vehicle is new, still doing the break-in. So we abided by that. But I mean, speeds at 100, 120 in this thing, helmet on, there's no sense of either instability or, like you said, significant wind noise or buffeting or anything. I mean, it was pretty solid. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of aero because it doesn't have a big wing, and they had to balance the front by pulling some of the front lip spoiler out of it because of that, but it'll stick, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. That's the biggest thing. It's just fun.
You know, I think that if I was going to tell anybody who's watching this the main difference between this and the 911, it's very simple. It's the characteristic of weight and where you feel the weight on the drive. So this is mid-engine, right? Front axle to about here is where you're going to find the engine versus a 911. And the other thing is this is a 3,200 pound car. I think the new 911 is more closer to 34 and change, if I'm not mistaken. And it has a 335 rear tire, right? And so the overall, I can't really describe it, but it feels like a large car when you drive it.
And it is a big car. You put them side by side,
It feels like a big car, you know? Whereas this just has like a very flickable, light characteristic to everything.
Right.
The brakes, like the flickability in the turns, the steering feel, it's fun. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, I think, you know, especially on track or even like at speed on back roads, the difference in the weight distribution is noticeable. I mean, from a rear engine 911 with a lot of that sort of pendulum feel, even though it's well, you know, reined in by all the chassis dynamics and the stability control systems and torque vectoring and all that. Right. You get in this and you get on a back road and you can feel there's like a pole right through the middle of the car, and the car wants to turn on that, and it's just a very reassuring sensation, and like I said, like you said, flickable. I mean, it's like a go-kart. It's a big go-kart.
It really is a feeling, and let's talk about the noise for a second, because I mean, I don't care what anybody tells me. I think this is the best sounding stock car I've ever heard. By far.
Yeah, and I think the interior noise from the intake is what's surprising, and one of the things that the track day we did a couple weeks ago, there's a buddy there that has a 991 GT3 RS with a full, I think it's a JCR, at least a JCR. Anyway, he's got an exhaust system on it that he has trouble passing decibel, you know, regulations in one of the tracks.
Yeah, that'll do it.
He got in this, took it around the track a couple times and said it's as loud inside the car as his full exhaust GT3 RS is. Yes. And he was surprised by that, and that's just intake.
I know.
I mean, the exhaust really is fairly, you know, muffled compared to that.
I'll give you a little taste of a drive when we don't have the weather quite as bad, but guys, this is the air intake, and your ear's right here. So it's, you know, 10, 12 inches away from the sensation of the sound of every shift. It has this like a sound. And when you're on the fuel, like, man, you really hear that sucking sound.
It does.
And it's amazing, even with the exhaust mode off, like you hear that. It's very apparent. You know, Jeff and I were just saying, guys, it's like an orchestra in here. Like the frequency change between full throttle, half throttle, top of the rev range, lower rev range, it's just amazing. It's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. And the reason why these cup engines, everybody wants them and everybody likes these GT3s is because of that sound. I mean, there's nothing like that. It's so motorsports.
And very apparent. Even with the windows up, you can see if you don't have the full top on, like you obviously it's still coming through right behind your head. I mean, so they are right there. This is a good thing to talk about too. Now, I know majority of the owners or people who are on the fence about this car are really on the fence because of this right here. And let's talk about some of the negatives, because here's one of the negatives right here. Okay, so every once in a while, and for some reason we're not 100% sure why, but it comes up with a message saying top is not fully secured. Guys, got to be honest with you, absolutely love the car. I was showing my good friend Chris here, helping out some contracting stuff today, and this roof is confused, and I can't figure out how to unconfuse it to show that it's closed. I've tried it every which way, and this is frustrating. Chris, grab that. So pop both of these, come over here, okay? Now, there is a grab handle, and we've had the grab handle up, we've had it down, neither one seemed to work. We've tried different combinations of these two. It's down right now, yeah?
No, it's up right now.
It's up, put it down. So you gotta pull it. That makes logical sense, one would think, right? Now, let's try these first before we close it fully. I would have thought to do that in the reverse, but I've tried it 1,000 times. It doesn't work, even though it's fully secured. So then it's just like a combination of, well, do you do this first? Do you then pop these? Let's try it the other way. That one. And so you have to start with these pull tabs, 1, 2, and then you come over here or use your key and pop the rear, okay? And then you have to repeat the cycle after you've taken the Bimini top off, secured it in the back, etc. And then you have to go and push that down, click, click. That should go off. Now, what I learned the hard way is, if you do that, the message comes up, you do your whole cycle, you get back in the car, that message doesn't go off. What I learned the hard way is you have to shut the car off, get out of it, lock it, get back in the car, restart the engine, and then that message will go away. And so one day, I probably spent about 30 frustrating minutes. I ended up calling Logan, my Porsche tech, who helped me with delivery day. I ended up calling Pierre, my advisor, and of course, you know, Logan answered. He walked me through the steps, made sure I had everything correct. It was, so he was kind of like baffled. And then Pierre finally called me back and said, you have to lock the car. So dude, I didn't know that.
No.
And it was so frustrating because we're on the side of the road. And by the way, if that message comes up, it takes off that whole right screen there. And it does not go away. It does not go away. Like you cannot, just not like low fuel where you can just hit a button and it
I think it even says do not drive.
It does.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't put it in limp mode, but it is one of those things that you're gonna choose not to drive with it. You know, it's like, because you're just gonna park it that day. So very frustrating. So again, if you get caught with that message, guys, and I've had this happen on this car probably about 5 times already in 1,000 miles. So clearly Porsche has a fault.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's, what's baffling is I could see, you know, if you're in the process of taking the top on and off and you don't do the order just correct and it wants to make sure everything's secure, but I've had it where I've driven the car fine, no warning, we'll turn the car off, get out, I won't touch the top, I won't touch the latches, the pulls, anything, get back in the car, and it throws the error.
Exactly.
And I haven't touched anything,
problem. And I don't know what it is. Something was triggered, but it wasn't anything conscious. What I mean by is no kid or whatever. Now, we were just saying a lot of people don't want this car because of this crazy top. In your opinion, Jeff, what do you think?
You know, it's a process. Once you do it a couple times, there's a few little sort of quirky things, but if done correctly, it's really not that difficult. And while it is definitely easier with 2 people, It's mainly just from a time standpoint because you don't have to walk around back and forth because there's some things that have to be done on each side of the car independently. But I mean, we got a little rain this morning. I pulled under an overpass in about 3 minutes by myself, had the top up. It really, the bimini top part, just to keep the rain off of me.
Right.
You know, if you were caught in a downpour, yeah, sure, it's not as easy as pushing a button and having the top go up. But 100%. It certainly wouldn't be a deal breaker for me, especially because this isn't somebody's primary car. This is a car where, like, you're gonna avoid rain as much as possible.
Yes.
But this works if you get stuck. In a pinch, you can put it up and it's not that bad.
Exactly. And you know how many times I've had the top out on mine, guys? You ready for this? Not a single time. Not once. Literally picked it up, it's been back there. Other than messing around with the button issue and the whole sensor issue, whatever is causing that problem, I haven't removed it one time because, to his point, if it's not a nice day, I just take something else.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's usually, this is somebody's third, fourth, fifth car. Yeah. And so if you go into it thinking like that, then it doesn't really become an issue.
I will point out some spec things since I mentioned it on the introduction. So his has the matte top here, which I thought was kind of an interesting because it's black with black. Yeah. So whatever. Mine has the painted, and I personally prefer the painted look, but it does give it a cool look here, especially with brighter colors. It kind of gives it more of a Carrera GT look. So if you do that, just keep that in mind. It does change the look of the top. We both have the Visoc package. If you don't happen to know what that is, this is carbon fiber here. It also has the painted midsection. Absolutely love the way this looks. I think you'd be crazy not to order that. I'm not a huge fan of the Boy Racer all carbon fiber look. This really classes it up. You will not get any of this, the NACA ducts, any of the splitters in carbon fiber from the factory. You can get aftermarket, but keep in mind, like, these shoot up rocks a lot. So this is all considered kind of consumable parts for Porsche. And that's just a plastic piece. You can reorder it, pop a new one in. So pros and cons, I don't care that it's not carbon fiber. I know it does bother some guys for the price of these. Like, why isn't everything carbon fiber when you spend all the money on the Visoc package? If you do want to know, the Visoc package also carries carbon fiber here, carries fiber here. All of these are in carbon fiber here. It also does put a Visoc package here on your bimini top. Does give you a carbon fiber lip on the, it's called a duck wing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it.
I think it's a duck wing.
Yeah, we'll call it
ducktail.
Ducktail, yeah.
Ducktail wing. I will say the brighter the color, the more the carbon fiber stands out. As you can see, the carbon fiber is a lot more obvious on a brighter color than it is on a black car. But I would definitely go with the Visoc package. I just love the way the Alcantara carries through on the Visoc package, which is a part of the upgrade. You do also get it on your carbon seats. I will say, should we talk about the carbon seats for a second? Because I was just talking to a guy yesterday and he was getting an 18-way, so, you know.
I'm partial to them because I think for me, it's part of, especially a GT car, just part of that experience, but really it comes down to fit. I mean, people ask, like, what do you think should I always say sit in them, find a pair, sit in them. If they fit you, they're great. Getting in and out's tough.
A couple of things I will say on the bucket seats. Really comfortable on this car. In fact, I want to make sure that it's clear because people still seem to think that this is going to be a harsh ride like the 4RS. They've 50% made the dampers and the springs just 50% less harsh, and that's straight from Porsche's factory. So this is actually a pretty comfortable car. Even my wife the other night, we went out for dinner, and that's the real smell test, is your wife, okay? If she gets nauseous or she just thinks it's uncomfortable, the bucket seats, like getting in them, you know, there's like an art to it. Now, I've seen guys that kind of put their elbow down and then slide in, but assuming that you have the top up, the only way you're gonna be able to really get in is this way, right? So I put my hand here. I bought what they call Crazy Eddie bolster protector here. That way you don't kind of hit the seat and you just kind of fall in, but I keep myself supported right here so I don't hurt my hip. You can easily do that. I mean, guys, I'm telling you, these seats, like, there's padding when you get in them, but otherwise you're just landing on a piece of carbon fiber. So be mindful of that. But when you're in the car, it's really good. Now, I'm 6 feet tall. I had a guy in the car the other day was 6'3", and you know, he was kind of looking over the top, and he was used to Lamborghini Huracans and stuff, so it didn't bother him. But be mindful that if you're really tall, you know, this may not be the car for you. I'm just gonna be honest. Like most sports cars, you're not gonna be able to fit in, okay? Miatas, everything else. Sorry, you know, you got to be a basketball player, but you didn't get to be a race car driver. It is what it is. But I will say it's comfortable. I personally love the red. This is Carmine red inserts. You can easily pull these inserts out. There's just a couple of pull tabs and they just rip right out. You know, I also will say, while we're talking about the interior, I love the old school nature of the car. And what I mean by that is, don't get me wrong, like I just reviewed a 992 Turbo S, like literally a couple weeks ago, and it was exclusive package and it had all the upgrades. And I love the tactility of all the different buttons, you know, here, and I love the modern design of everything. But you know, it has the key over here now. There's no physical inserting. Most of the analog gauges are gone, right? Everything's a screen now. You have to turn off the auto start stop. You have to turn off the nannies, you know, the lane keep and all that stuff. Every single time you get in the car, you have to reset the car every time. And I know that's annoying because I have to do that on a couple of my other cars. This car, you just insert the key, turn it, and go. There's not even auto start built into the car. You see what I'm getting at? Like, it's just, you have nothing but analog gauges, right? You barely have Bluetooth. You barely have CarPlay. You know, you have to plug in CarPlay. So you come over here to the middle and you plug your phone in. So that's something I do every time. I just put my phone in, I plug it in. That initiates CarPlay. But what I'm getting at is it's kind of an old school car. And so it's just going to age really well from that point of view, in my personal opinion. The gauges are going to age well. All these buttons are kind of already old. You know, this look's been around now 8-10 years already. So it's just going to be a cool car, I think, and a really cool piece of history when it comes to like the car, you know, Porsche lineage. That's my personal opinion. Jeff, you have anything to add on that as far as like your interior thoughts?
Well, I agree. And so for me, it was interesting because coming from a 992, it was actually a step back in tech as far as Porsche is concerned.
Yes.
So I had to kind of reacclimate myself with physical buttons, a smaller screen, like you said, no wireless CarPlay. The 992 still does have a .1 has a central analog tack, but all the other buttons and also any of the warning symbols and everything that are in the gauges, like that's all digital on the 992. So it was definitely a sort of a step backwards. Plus, one thing.
But a step backwards but maybe a step forward too.
Well, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I missed a lot of that, and even looking at the steering wheel. I mean, there's no physical buttons on the steering wheel.
Oh yeah, nothing, guys. No cruise control here.
Exactly.
You know, you have your cruise stock here, and you have some ways of cycling through your menu here, which is that old school look. But that's it.
Yeah.
You know, now I will tell you, if you do get the Sport Chrono package, which you absolutely should, be mindful if you get it in white. I got my gauges in white, which I love, but I don't know if I'd go with that because at nighttime that lights up pretty strong, and that's going to give you a nice white reflection right there. That is pretty obvious. So,
I can confirm that. Mine's white.
Yours is white?
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, be mindful. I mean, and this is something that my advisor actually encouraged me not to get in white because I was like, oh, I want it to be white just to match. He's like, no, I don't think you do because at nighttime it's very bright. So. Yeah. Like even right now, you probably can't see it in the camera, but I can see the reflection even during the day. So trust me, it's very obvious, and I would just stick with a dark color for that. I will say as well, the Bose sound system is actually a lot better than I thought it was. It's really clear, doesn't have a lot of bass to it, but that's okay. I'm not like a 25-year-old anymore. Like I just want to hear good mids and good highs. It's very clear, great for listening to Audible, just really good stereo system, and frankly a little better than I thought. I mean, it is an upgrade, but is it a B&O like the Aston has with 13 speakers and 1600 watts and all that crap? No, it's not. But I will say that it is very, even at 100 or 80 miles an hour on the highway with the top down, you can still hear the music pretty clear. I think you'd agree with that.
Yeah, it battles the intake noise, but it has enough punch behind it that if you turn it up, you can hear it. It doesn't get completely washed out.
And the other thing that I love about it while we're talking the interior is the heat and the air conditioning work fantastic in this car. I mean, really good. And so, I got the car kind of late winter, and I got a lot of cold days. Even with the top down, the windows up, the heat really comes out pretty hard by your feet. And I mean, you could be very comfortable, I think, even at 30, 35 degrees in this car. Now, if you are on the highway and you're going for it, I mean, it's going to get a little chilly. You need to bundle up. But I have had no issues at all with the car. Have you? Have you had anything in 1,600 miles other than that stupid top
Other than
message?
the top, which is just finicky, no. I mean, the thing's been flawless.
It's been rock solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had trust me, Jeff and I are both drivers. V-second his a little bit to the track like he told you. I mean, I've been pushing the car. I did follow the braking period more or less. I definitely did a lot of heat cycles on the car, so I would take a lot of like 10, 15 mile drives, you know, and so I don't necessarily think it's miles all the time. I think it's the amount of heat cycles the engine goes through, because you will smell the engine quite a bit when you come out, even a mid-drive when it's just being broken in. I mean, you can attest to that. The off-gassing is pretty strong.
You can tell that you're breaking the thing in. And a lot of the braking too is with the transmission as well. And so like while you try to vary the revs and not exceed certain RPMs at certain times, like a lot of the braking's occurring in the transmission too. So, you know, drives with a lot of gear changes, things like that are really good for it. Don't get on the interstate and sit at 80 miles an hour in seventh gear for 2 hours. I mean,
I can concur with that. I really think I did a good job of breaking mine in. I mean, it just feels good, you know, like it feels like it's ready to run, and I'm excited because now there's no limits. And you know, when you're in break-in period, it does come up with a message consistently saying, you know, observe break-in period, and it lets you know. And as you can also see, I don't know, maybe you can or can't, it comes up with a cold indicator until you get to about 147, I think, temperature. I think it's either 147 or 150, it's somewhere in there. Then that cold indicator will go away. It just kind of gives you a message like, take it easy, you know. And it takes what, about 3 minutes, you know, a couple minutes to warm up, you know, maybe a mile or two down the road, and let it idle for just, you know, a minute before you put it in gear. I love the front lift. You absolutely have to get the front lift. If you don't spec your car with the front lift, I think you're going to kill resale value. I think you can get away with 18-way seats. I do think the carbon buckets are going to be more desirable when you go to resell the car, but if you don't get a lift, you're just killing yourself, because I use it every single time I drive the car. I mean, just getting out of my driveway, getting into anything restaurant, you know, when you have like a little dip down with the concrete, like it saves your bacon. I mean, if you don't get the lift, you're absolutely out of your mind. So please get the lift.
Yeah.
Okay. Getting out of this car is a small act of Congress. I will tell you guys, and I'm just gonna be honest with you, like I'm almost 40 years old, right? So, you know, I still go to the gym and I'm in fairly good shape. I'm okay with these seats, but if I was 65, I would not get these carbon bucket seats. I don't care how cool they are, okay? If you got hip issues, back problems, you know, whatnot, like they're not easy to get in and out. I mean, legitimately, they're not easy. Now, the trick to getting in, like I said, as I put my hand here, the trick to getting out, you put one leg down, you come over here, and see how I'm pushing off the steering wheel and the seat? And you just kind of push yourself off. But I've got quite a bit of pressure on my hand. So I'm lifting out of the seat by pushing here and pushing here. And that's actually what Andre says, the guy who designed these GT cars. That's the trick. But you know, you got to have some upper body strength, is what I'm saying. Otherwise, you're going to just be digging into your hip when you're pushing out of the seat. Having said that, are the carbon buckets the way to go? Yes. Because when you are in this car, guys, and you're actually driving it and you're feeling the connectedness of the seat, because it's so low, it lightens up the car, and man, they hold you in place real well. I mean, you could take some serious turns and you're not going anywhere. And it just gives you a sense of confidence, you know? Now, are the heated seats cool? And the 18-way is great too. They take pressure off the lower back, and you could rock them, and you know, you could tighten up the bolsters if you want. I mean, they're still great. There's a place for everything. I think the older I get, I'll probably continue to buy more GT cars if they keep making them, and I'll probably eventually transition to an 18-way and just say, I had my years with the carbon buckets, but I will say that if you do feel like you've got, the capability of dealing with it, you should definitely go for them. Because these seats aftermarket, they're like $25,000. Just from between me to you guys, I would definitely get the lift. I would definitely get the Visoc package. I would definitely get the buckets. Personally love the red with the GT silver. I've gotten a lot of compliments on this color. It really is a beautiful color. People tell me it has a little bit of blue in it, but honestly, it really doesn't. Like it really goes with red well. You know, would you get the stickers? I don't know. I could take or leave that. Just keep in mind, they are just stickers. So if you love to wash your car, you know, and you come out here and you do a rag real hard, like you can easily peel a side up. So I PPF'd both of them on the doors. So that's why I gave it a kind of 3D look. But this right here, just be careful when you clean the car, because they're just literally stickers, nothing fancy. We'll talk about the brakes, guys. PCCBs, Porsche Carbon Ceramic Brakes. Now, I was really debating on going with PCCBs versus steels. And now that I've lived with the car, absolutely go with carbon ceramics, period. Because here's the reality. If you want to change these brakes after you're done with them, maybe you beat them up on the track or whatever, they're going to be expensive. You're going to spend 30, 40 grand on these brakes between rotors and pads. for all set. But you get no brake dust along the way. And the other thing you think about is, because you're spending $40,000 to replace them, sure, but you also got them from the factory for 10, and that's like taxes and everything. So it's a good deal. You know, you're getting them like 25% of the replacement cost. So you might as well go for them. If you do burn them out and you don't want to spend the ridiculous money, then you can just order a set of steels anyways, right? But you might as well get the cheap price from Porsche to begin with. Now I will say, on my Spec, I have yellow here, and I was really debating it. I remember I even submitted my my spec sheet, and I hit my advisor up like weeks after it was locked, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna suck it up, pay another $1,000, which is what it was with tax, to get this in black. Am I disappointed that I didn't do that? I gotta be honest, I'm not. I really love the way it looks. And come over here for a second, Jeff. You'll notice that there's a yellow right here in the steering wheel. And so that yellow is in the steering wheel, in the center of the shift knob, and also in the gauges. So you can't spec that yellow out. I mean, maybe you can get like a Sonderwunsch, you know, like a special wishes, but in general, it defaults to yellow. So, you know, kind of brings a little bit of clarity to the spec. And I just think it works with vanadium gray. It adds a little bit of pop of color. Now with this spec, it would have looked fine with yellow too, but again, red top, red interior, this gives it that really cool murdered out look. These are also carbon ceramic brakes. And in addition to the brake dust, guys, be mindful that it really lightens up the car. And I tell you, these brakes, they're fantastic. I mean, they are a little, when they're cold, they can squeal a little bit. They can also be a little less bitey than probably steels when they're cold. But after you're on a back road and you've hit them a few times, I mean, they really are amazing. And it's so cool to do a spirited drive and come home and have no brake dust on your wheel. Like, as a guy who loves to keep their car clean, Jeff, I'm sure you'd agree, like, that's a game changer.
It's a game changer, yeah.
You had steels on your GTS.
Right.
And I know every time you hit that brake pad, it was like squirting, you know, just, you know, brake dust all over the car. And not just the rotors too. I mean, it goes all over the car, right? It can get all into the lower area of the fender, all down your door, especially if you're going at, you know, speed or you have a lot of rain. So I would highly encourage you to go with the carbon ceramic brakes. You might as well. PDLS Plus, you absolutely should go with PDLS Plus headlights. It gives it a really cool, menacing look. And keep in mind, this is a massive headlight. Like, holy shit, it's massive. I mean, look at the size of this thing. So if you don't get PDLS headlights, it really changes, I think, the look of the car overall. This really modernizes it. And you can see here, I have a bug that landed in here. I still have not figured out how to clean that. It's driving me a little crazy, frankly. I'm gonna have to get like a Q-tip and some rubbing alcohol and just get it in there. It just happened to hit it just right. But yeah, I definitely would go with PDLS headlights. And that's about it. I mean, PDLS headlights, Visoc package, make sure you get the lift. I would go with the PCCB brakes. I would absolutely choose a color and a spec that you like. I mean, it's personal opinion. I'm very happy with vanadium gray. I think Jeff is really happy with black. I mean, this is now, be honest, would you have spec'd this car in black?
No, that was the thing.
You would have gone with GT Silver,
I would have
right?
gone with probably a GT Silver, probably would have done black wheels, and then the brake caliper color would have just depended. Yellow, black would have both worked, I think. But yeah, the black on black on black is not a Jeff spec, but it works on the car.
It does work. I mean, it looks amazing sitting here. And it's just different. It's also a little more subtle, so you can have a little more fun on the street, you know. You go with a bright blue or a yellow or a, you know, pink or something like that, and, you know, everybody knows you're having fun. Everybody sees you. So that's why I literally went with a spec like this, because I feel like I can get away with a little bit more fun on the street. And, you know, it's hard to, like, tell people, you know, when you drive these cars, they're so capable. It's just incredible. I mean, they have 500 horsepower. It's super light. You have world-class brakes, world-class suspension, world-class transmission. You know, I mean, I'll tell you what, like, I have tried to drive it on the street aggressively. I maybe can get to 510 or 610 at best on what the capability of this cars are. The only place, guys, you're gonna get this car and truly get it is on the track. And really, there's only a handful of tracks that you can really exploit the car. Like NCM would be a good one, at least here in Nashville, but Polecat, Jeff was just telling me, like, you're probably not even getting 100% of the car at Polecat because the track just doesn't have that long of a stretch. You know, you were hitting what, 140 on the straight?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you could easily get up to 195 with the top down on this car. So my point is that, you know, if you buy this car, just keep in mind that it's especially for all the people watching this, like, I might pass you going crazy speeds. Like, to me, it feels like I'm barely moving. Like, it's just the reality of driving a GT car. They're so well built. And I will say, I think Jeff will agree, when you push this car, you really feel the aerodynamics hunkering the car down. You know, you feel it just hugging the road more and more and more. And it's an intoxicating feeling. And it gives you a ton of confidence. So I gotta say, from the driving point of view and just talking about it here, absolutely love the car. It's been, I mean, I prefer it honestly more than I like. You know, guys, I reviewed the 3RS not long ago. I absolutely love the car, but you never feel like you're getting that 3RS experience unless you go to the track, because you just can't do it on the street. There's something about this particular car, especially with the top off, you just really feel like you're getting a lot more of the Cup engine experience. You know, and yeah, you may not be reaching the same level or performance that a 3RS is capable of, but the fun factor, the flickability, the lightness, the sound of it, it just has a more emotional fun factor than the 3RS. And I'm not saying the 3RS isn't world class, but it feels like such a big car when you're driving it on the street. Whereas this thing is super light. It's more Miata feeling than anything else out there. And then you get that intake, and you get that exhaust note, and it's comfortable. I mean, Jeff and I were just saying the suspension is really, it's still taut, like, you know you're in a sports car, but going over these bumps right now, it's very comfortable. Like, you're not getting thrown into the ceiling, you know? Whereas with the 3RS or the 4RS, you are, even with the harshness turned down. I mean, it's very race car. And that makes sense, right? Those are designed to do one thing and go around a track. But this car truly is designed to just have fun on a Sunday, on a decent day like we're on today, top down, and it checks all of those boxes really well. You were just telling me that you did one upgrade to the car.
Yes.
So what'd you do?
As most of the time with my cars, I get them and I want more sound.
Right.
And so I wanted to do something that was cost effective, but also bang for your buck kind of thing. And essentially with these, there's sort of three sections you can attack as far as the exhaust: the headers, the over axle pipe, or the rear exhaust section. And so with the rear exhaust, that's usually, you have an option. Do you want to change the tone to sound more like an RSR GT3 high-pitched wail, or do you want to kind of keep the unique tone of the GT3 engine in this configuration? I didn't want to mess with that. I wanted to keep the valves. Those titanium tips that you get with the Y-Stock package are expensive, and we paid for them, so I didn't necessarily, if you wanted to get, I don't necessarily want to lose those.
They do look pretty sick too.
So what I went with was, I went over the over axle pipe, so that's more of just like a volume increase. It doesn't really change the tone, just kind of ratchets everything up.
That's headers, they have a cat, and then from that, you've changed that. And that literally goes over the axle, but you kept the resonator, correct?
Correct, so there's an open competition version and a resonated version. These particular ones are sole resonated over axle pipes. The resonation, it probably drops the volume a little bit, smooths the tone, and helps prevent drone. So it's not max sound. If you want max sound, just get the full competition, no resonator. I didn't want to make it too extreme. I wanted to kind of keep it within reason, but I needed some more volume because, like we talked about, those intakes are so much of what you hear.
You hear the air before you hear the exhaust.
And so I wanted to hear a balance of the two, and I think that's what really did it. I think in a second we'll get kind of a back-to-back cold start on it. But I think
let's do that right now. All right, so he'll start it up, and I'm going to go
ahead and hit the valve button immediately.
Yeah,
so those will
it's still valved. Be mindful of that, guys. Like, it's still a valve car, even with the change. Wow, that sounds throaty.
Yeah, I'm warmed up, so I can do a couple revs on it.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a lot louder.
Yeah, it's definitely volume for sure.
Yeah, wow. Okay. That's noticeably spicier. So that's $3,200.
Yeah, plus shipping and handling. I mean, like I said, given the normal cost of the Porsche tax on anything exhaust related, that's kind of a bargain.
Yeah. Did you install it or did you?
I did it myself. I mean, if you have a handful of tools and can get it on a lift, the rear wheels do have to come off. But once you're in there, there's 6 bolt stud type setups that you pull off, snake the old factory over axle pipe out, bolt the new one up. Pretty straightforward.
No kidding. And you did the center locks yourself, huh? Good.
Yeah, I had the tools from the GTS. So when you have it, you want to use it because you spent the money on it on the thing you can't use on
6-foot breaker bar
that you can't use on anything else but but these wheels.
600 pounds of force, right? Is
Yeah.
That what it is?
It's 443 foot-pounds, 600 Newton meters.
Okay.
That they have to be torqued to, and then you've got to reverse them 60 degrees, 90 degrees, and then you torque back. And then you make sure the locking mechanism is good, and then you cross your fingers. And there's the special paste you got to put on it too. So every time you change them, you got to put some anti-seize, some specific anti-seize paste in the connection points between the wheel and the hub there. So
wow,
it's a process.
Yeah, I bet.
And a lot of guys don't want to mess with it. And
no, I won't.
I don't want to think about getting stuck on the side of the road and AAA or somebody shows up.
Oh my God,
you're in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. No. That car is getting towed.
Yes,
yeah,
100%.
Sure. All right, I'll show you mine real quick. We'll do a quick cold start on it's not really that cold. You can hear it's definitely quieter. Turn on the valves right now. There's your valves. I think it sounds pretty good. I don't know. Could it be louder? Yeah. Is it loud enough? I think so. I mean, it sounds good to me, bro. Like, I don't know. This car, man, I don't know. It's loud. Like, that's a stock exhaust, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a little bit more volume, but it's, it doesn't need it.
No, it doesn't need it.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you. Like, your GTS needed it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that car was so quiet from the factory. And when you did that exhaust, it really transformed the feel of the car. This is one of those rare cars that it just rocks right out of the gate. I mean, it's loud. Like, you just heard it, guys. Like, in the garage, it resonates even more. I mean, it's not quite that loud when you're not in the garage, but yeah, I don't think you need to spend the money. Having said that, hey, you know what? It's your car now, right? So enjoy it. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's pretty spicy. I'm gonna have to take a little drive now and see how that actually pans out. You do gain probably what, 10 horsepower maybe?
So if you look at the dynos on it, there's a dip, and you might be able to post it here in the video, but you gain about almost 30 foot-pounds.
30 foot-pounds?
It's 20 to 30 foot-pounds in the mid-range, about 5,000 RPM, somewhere right in there.
That's a lot.
It's a lot for just essentially that over-axle pipe.
That's way more than I would have thought.
Yeah.
Wow, that thing must have been really restrictive.
It is. That secondary cat with the OPF, it's a choke point. It's all emissions related. So getting rid of that lets it breathe a little bit better, obviously gets you some noise. So once again, it's just, does it need it? No. But
so this was what, 337 foot-pounds of torque from the factory? So now you're pushing like 360,
right in that mid-range. As you get in the higher RPMs, it evens out. It's about the same. You don't get much up higher in the rev band, but in that mid-range where you spend a lot of time, it definitely,
Oh, I mean, I don't know about you. I'm not redlining this car all the time. I mean, guys, I'm serious. Like when you go and when you hit 6, 7, 8, you better have some room because you're flying. Like, this car is a really fast car. I mean, 500 horsepower and it weighs 3,200 pounds. You follow me? Like, I do a lot of race car driving and I drive a lot of fast cars. Like, this is a really capable car. I mean, be careful. You can get in trouble.